Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. You can hear me
Oh,
okay too?
yes. Great.
Great. How was your first day of fall quarter?
Um, well, it was just another day, went to work and then came home and um, tried to work on some work. Um so for the quiz that is for tonight, since we're not doing the lockdown browser, do you want to just do it in our regular Chrome or whatever browser we
Yep.
use? Okay.
hmm
Just wanted to make sure because I did ask
Yeah.
email back.
Yeah, and I think I am going to send an announcement. I've been answering a few emails about the lockdown browser. It's been extremely problematic for people, so I'm just getting rid of it. The crazy thing is that I've been teaching Spanish online this is my 10th year, and I've been using the lockdown browser for almost all of those years, and it's never been a problem. But for some reason, I don't know if it's broken or what, but it's not just us. Like all of TCC has told us that we shouldn't use it anymore. So we're gonna use it.
All right.
So, hi, Daphne. Nice to meet you in person.
Thank you for all of your support, Amy. I feel like I
Yeah.
know you because I've watched so many of your videos now. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so happy to meet you guys. This is truly my favorite thing to do in the world is teach Spanish, and specifically teach Spanish online. So I'm going to, just wait and see who shows up. This was not a mandatory meeting by any means, but just a way for us to kind of touch base at the beginning of the quarter and maybe go over a little bit of what to expect. I think I saw some students on the roster who had me for Spanish 121, but most not. So I don't know if you guys took Spanish 121 over the summer or where you're coming from, but you didn't have me. So let's talk about how I do the class and what you can expect, and of course ask me questions. That's what we're here for.
Okay.
And pronounce your names for me, because I don't want to pronounce them wrong.
Hi, I'm Teo.
Teo, okay.
Yep.
And
I'm Zavera.
Zavera, okay. And
And I'm
Daphne.
Daphne.
You're Daphne. Got you. And Abby, I think I can pronounce that one. That one's Whitney.
Hi.
Is it Whitney?
It's Whitney.
Whitney. Did you take Spanish 121 with me at some point?
No, I didn't.
No. Okay. Sorry, you look a little familiar, but okie dokie. Well, welcome. Hi, Madeline.
Hi.
Okay. So as you guys are signing in, I'm just gonna kind of repeat what I've been saying. This is totally informal, just a way for us to touch base. I'm not even gonna start teaching tonight, but I will talk about how Language Lab will work and your alternative option, which is Flipgrid. And just so you guys can kind of know what to expect on either of those and kind of maybe even make your choice of how you want to attend. So we'll talk about that, and like I said, answer any questions. I'm hoping that when you guys are signing into Canvas, you're seeing the Bitmoji page with the video on how to ace the course. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, like I said, this is my 10th year teaching Spanish online, so it's not new to me at all. I think you guys are lucky in that sense because many students right now are having instructors that have never taught online before, and they're kind of like I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm kind of the opposite. I'm like, I know exactly what I'm doing. So that's great. I'm very comfortable with this. But I will tell you that I'm trying some new techniques this quarter. So I'm a little, that's new. If you took Spanish 121 through TCC recently, you probably used a program called MindTap to accompany the textbook. I have so fondly renamed MindTap MindCrap, and I'm getting rid of it. We're not going to use it this quarter. I'm going to try really hard not to use it this quarter because it's garbage. It works okay for Spanish 121, but I found that once my students get to Spanish 122, those activities are hard. They're like unnecessarily hard. And so I thought we could ditch it and try to get the practice with other apps. So not apps, websites. So I know it's kind of a lot when I say like, okay, go sign up for Quizlet and go sign up for Gimkit. It seems like a lot in the beginning, but really I'm hoping that it's going to alleviate a lot of frustration for you guys in the long run. So yeah, at first it's go here to do this activity, go there to do that activity. But the activities that I'm giving you guys to do, I'm hoping are easier and more fun and more entertaining than the MindCrap activities. So just believe me, it's with the best intentions. So that being said, if you see anywhere in the course that still refers to MindTap, can you let me know? Because I'm trying to erase it. And all your eyes looking at the course are a lot better than just mine. So if you see it, just go, oh yeah, MindTap was mentioned here, and let me know so I can erase it. So not using MindTap, Quizlet, and Gimkit. And if you guys have never used Gimkit before, my suspicion is that you're probably going to like it. It's kind of a fun way to study. It's like a game show where you earn money and then you can buy upgrades with your money. So we've got that, and then the Edpuzzles. The Edpuzzles are also new for me. I've never used those before. I've always had videos of me teaching in my class, but they've always just been a video. And Edpuzzle is like a video of me teaching with questions as you go along. So hopefully that's an upgrade too. Before I talk about Language Lab and what to expect and Flipgrid, do you guys have any questions about anything that you've seen in the class so far that you're just like, what is this, or what am I doing? No, everything is so perfectly crystal clear. Like, I'm an awesome professor who's laid it out perfectly for you guys, and this is the best class you've ever taken so far. Right.
So my only question was answered already. So yeah.
Was it about the lockdown browser?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Getting rid of the lockdown browser. And so it pains me to say this because I am a Spanish teacher. I've been a Spanish teacher for half my life, almost 20 years. But you're going to have to just use the honor system. So the lockdown browser was the way that I made sure my students were not using, Google Translate or the textbook or whatever while you're taking the quizzes on vocab and grammar. I can't use it anymore. And so it is what it is. I'm not going to fight it. You're going to get out of the class what you put into it. You guys are paying for it. I get paid whether you learn Spanish or not, hopefully. But do be honest with yourself, like, whatever. That's all I'm going to say about that. All right. If you guys don't have any other questions about the class, let me tell you what Language Lab looks like and what we'll do in live Language Labs, which will be every Monday night at 8 o'clock. And then if you can't make it Monday nights at 8 o'clock, there's an alternative, and that's going to be Flipgrid. And I'll show you guys what that looks like too. And then it's totally fine with me if you guys pick to come to live Language Lab or if you pick to do the Flipgrid option. I think they're both great. They both have their benefits. Live Language Lab is great because it's live, right? You get me live every Monday night with all my jokes. The Flipgrid option is also great because you can do it whenever. Like if Monday nights at 8 o'clock doesn't work, if you have to work, something comes up, your internet crashes, no worries, because you can always do the Flipgrid. You don't have to stick with one or the other. Sometimes you want to come live, sometimes you want to do Flipgrid. I don't care. As long as you do one or the other, you're going to get credit. So when you sign into Language Lab, it's going to look like this for a minute, and I'm going to say, hey, how's everybody doing? And then I'm going to share my screen. And I will always have something for you guys to look at while we're talking. So we're going to start with chapter 5. I kind of talked about if you guys took Spanish 121 recently, or if you're just coming in with some other kind of background, but most students have come in from Spanish 121 and you've, in the Plazas textbook, you've done chapters Capítulo Preliminar through chapter 4, and we start with chapter 5. So we're not going to do this tonight. We're just going to take it easy. We're going to start chapter 5 next week in Language Lab, but it's always going to be the same kind of deal. So I'll say hi, I'll share my screen, I'll go through like a less than 5 minutes little mini lesson about what you should have already watched, the Edpuzzle, you should have already done the Quizlet stuff on this, so it's not new. That's why I can kind of go through it quickly. And then I'll have questions, and the questions are going to use whatever we just learned about. So if these are about reflexive verbs, the questions are going to have reflexive verbs in them. All you have to do is read off the slide. I go through the questions, I talk about what they mean, and I help you answer them. So really, it's very low risk. This shouldn't be stressful. You don't have to study to come here. You don't have to do a whole lot of preparation. I try to have fun and try to get to know you guys and ask interesting questions whenever I can think of interesting questions to ask you guys about what we're learning about. It will almost always take an hour if I have about this many people who come. If I have a lot of people who come, I'll squeeze it into an hour. I'll never take more than an hour. And if I have, maybe 3 people who show up, and I'm hoping that's not the case. Hopefully enough people are motivated by live conversation that I'll have, like about this number, 8. So then you hear everybody answer the question and you get to know the people in your Language Lab group, and it's fun. The alternative to doing this is Flipgrid, and I'll show you what Flipgrid looks like. I closed my Flipgrid. Flipgrid links are posted to the calendar, but I'll also send them out. And you'll get a link, for example, every Language Lab course has a corresponding Flipgrid, and actually the video here where you press play is exactly what I would teach in Language Lab, except there's no students in it. It's just me talking to this computer screen, because I've been that desperate where I can teach to absolutely nobody. So you watch the explanation. I still go over the questions. You can see them on the left side of the screen, same questions. I still go over them, and I still tell you how to answer them. So you have to watch the video to answer the questions. You cannot just like talk about Google Translate. You can't just put these into the translator and get some sort of answer back, because if it's not the answers that I'm looking for, like using reflexive verbs or using a specific verb tense that we're going to learn, then I'm going to say, you didn't watch the video and I'm not going to give you credit for this. So you do have to watch the video. Answer the questions. You respond with this record a response little button, and your camera will pop on. It'll record you answering these however many questions. There's usually about 10. And then I'll watch your video and I'll give you feedback. So like I said, this can be done at whatever time is convenient for you. Language Labs will always happen at 8 o'clock on Mondays. I don't take off points if you have a bad accent or if you make a boo-boo. Really, it's just if you put forth effort and do a good job and watch the video and answer the way that I'm trying to get you to answer, you get full credit. This is worth 20% of your overall grade in this class. So it's really easy to get 100 for your participation in language lab section of your grade. So there's that. Any questions about language lab or Flipgrid? Hopefully that made you feel a little better. Maybe you were stressed out thinking you were going to come in here and I was going to be like, today's topic is politics in Spanish. Go. We don't do that. Maybe a little bit in Spanish 123, but definitely not in 121 and 122.
Amy, I have a question about what you said. Did you say, I heard you say that you don't take off points for a bad accent, but did you also say if you make a boo-boo, you don't take off points as long as we've watched?
As long as you're trying,
really nice.
as long as you're trying. So
Yeah.
I may
Very
help
nice.
you. I may say, oh, no, you know, like that's not right, or say it this way. But no, I'm not over here scoring you with a rubric. No, nope. You show up to language lab, you get 100%. If the only time I've ever taken points off for this participation is when people send me Flipgrids that obviously didn't watch the video, and just, I can tell. I can tell because the questions are not answered in the way that I've explained in the video.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yep, free points. Points for everyone. Round of points all around.
Will you be talking in English or in Spanish for most of the
English.
Okay.
Yep, I teach in English. My native language is English. I studied Spanish my whole life, learned the grammar in English. So that's the way I teach.
Okay, cool.
Some students like that. That's a really good question, and I can't say I get to ask that very often. You guys can't be quiet. You come in here to talk. I get it. No, you guys don't know each other yet, and I'm just chatty, so I have no problem. Also, probably very much like most of you, I've been on lockdown inside my house without other adults. I have 4 kids, but they're not the same kind of conversation that I like to get. So I get a little bit like chatty. I'll try to tone it down for you guys.
Tone it down. So Amy, I have a question too about Google Translate. I saw I think maybe in the syllabus, I'm not sure what it said, you can look up one word in Google Translate per sentence, but can you use the dictionary if you need to? Is it Google Translate?
Yeah, it's more like,
or looking up?
It's more like don't use it for entire phrases or sentences. So I don't want you to, the biggest error you can commit in my class is not anything else except going to Google Translate, writing your ideas in English and putting them into Translate and getting Spanish and then trying to turn it into me. Because I can tell, even if you are a native speaker or you have tons of Spanish experience, I can tell if you've put effort into something or if you've put it into Google Translate. And it is considered plagiarism, so I have to treat it like that. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal to me. I would so much rather somebody turn something in that is full of mistakes because I know that they didn't use Google Translate. And I praise my students up and down. I love this thing that you just turned in because it has these errors in it and we're gonna learn from these errors, and I know you didn't use Google Translate and you tried your best. So honestly, the worst thing you can do is go to Google Translate. But that being said, I use it sometimes for a word. Like if I don't know how to say one word, I'll go and say, I don't know, the word for sloth, for example, which I just learned it. You guys are gonna love this word. The word for sloth in Spanish literally translates to lazy bear. So bear in Spanish is oso perezoso, oso, and it rhymes. Oso perezoso is a sloth. So something like that, use it. It is it's a great tool, but you are not able to, if you are truly Spanish 122 students, you're not able to communicate in Spanish the way that you can in English. educated, intelligent adults. You should be speaking Spanish like a toddler right now. So
Lucky.
if you're lucky, you know, that's the kind of Spanish I want to hear from you. So that's my spiel on Google Translate. It's kind of like most Spanish teachers or foreign language teachers will tell you, it's like the thorn in our side. And with technology, my iPhone just got updated, and there's an app you can just talk into it and it will translate it for you. My son was showing it to me and I was like, well, great. You know, I didn't have to worry about my students constantly using Google Translate. Now they don't even have to go to a website. Like everybody's got their phone in their hand all the time anyway. All right, you guys, I quit teaching Spanish anymore. I'm just kidding. I love it. So yeah, one word. You know what's an even better idea than going to Google Translate or submitting something? And I don't have you guys do a ton of writing, but there is a little project that you work on throughout the quarter called your capstone project. And it sounds like a big thing. When you hear the word capstone, it typically like is this big project, but it's just one slide per chapter. So it's like 5 slides total, and you do 1 slide per chapter. So you work on it throughout the quarter. But anyway, that's like the most work I have you do on anything. And rather than submitting it with something from Google Translate or with a bunch of errors, ask me. I love to help. I love to be asked questions. So if you don't know how to say something, or you want to say something that's beyond your capability, ask me. I'll help you simplify your ideas and use words that you already know.
I have a question. How would I say, can you expand on that in Spanish? Like,
I would say, puedes explicar más. Can you
Explicar
explain
más.
more?
Vale.
Explicar más.
Okay.
Puedes explicar más?
Vale, gracias.
Yeah. Why? Where do you want to say that?
Because I was gonna say that in Spanish about the slides. Like, what is that?
Oh.
What does that mean? Like, what kind of information are we writing about each chapter? Is it like grammar or vocab or both?
Both. So if you had taken me for Spanish 121, we actually start this project in the beginning of Spanish 121. And Spanish 121 is my favorite class to teach. Sorry, guys, but it is, because it's all about you. It's how old you are, where you're from, what you like to study, what you do in your spare time. And so each of the slides start like that. It's like talking about who you are, where you're from. Then it's like what you like to study, your favorite classes and your favorite teachers, which is usually me. Then the next chapter is what you like to do in your spare time. And then the last chapter is kind of lame, it's about your house. So we pick up on that kind of idea in this course, and the topics we're going to cover is health and wellness. So what you do in your daily routine, like what time you brush your teeth and how you stay healthy. Then you talk about your favorite foods and restaurants. That's my favorite chapter. And then we talk about your clothing and shopping, where you buy your clothes and what you wore when you were a kid, because we start talking about the past tense. And then we talk about your favorite holidays and how you celebrate them now and how you celebrated them as a kid. So again, using the present and the past. And then the last chapter is about giving directions and traveling. So each slide, there's just, I mean, it doesn't really, it's not one topic so much as like lots of different topics. Okay. But yeah, so the slide will be directly related to what we've learned in the chapter. Both have like a topic and the grammar.
Cool.
Yeah. Te expliqué más. I explained more.
Muchas gracias, profe.
De nada.
Lo siento, no tengo más preguntas.
No tienes más preguntas. Está bien. Anastasia, I didn't put out an availability poll. So wherever I mention that availability poll, I think it's in the Start Here module, I should probably update that, because I haven't been sending it out since I've included the Flipgrid. I used to have to teach several different options live because everybody was required to come live. I can't do that anymore because of COVID, first of all, and second of all, I found this great alternative, Flipgrid. So either you can come live or you can do Flipgrid. So no availability poll. It's just I pick the time, Monday nights at 8, or you do Flipgrid.
Amy,
Yeah.
you said we could contact you if we're stuck on something. How do you prefer to be contacted?
That's a good question. I like to be contacted through Canvas. I'll check my Canvas
okay.
messaging more often
Okay.
than I'll check my TCC email.
Okay.
So that's probably the best way to get a hold of me. And I check it a bunch of times a day. Like I'm home all day. This is my full-time job. It's not really full-time, but it's mostly full-time. So, so I'm by my computer frequently, and I'm pretty quick to answer, even on the weekends.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. Those are good questions. Any others?
So I have a question that may just be specific to me. You know, I haven't received my student ID yet or my Canvas login yet. I'm working on that at the moment. So I'm really unclear about what we need to do for next week. And I'm not quite sure. I'm hoping to have all of, you know, my Canvas login and my student ID tomorrow. I did write to to services tonight and say, I was a student in 1984 or in the 80s in TCC. Maybe I still have a student number. I don't have a
Oh
new
my
one.
gosh, that's funny.
I know,
I
I
think-
think older than everyone, you know, who was born.
I know half these people probably weren't even born in 1984.
I'm sure they weren't, maybe 94 either, maybe 2004.
Don't worry, you have plenty of time. So there are a few things that that people could work on this week, but really I've slowed the pace of the beginning of the course way down on purpose so we could all get comfortable with the technology. So I don't think anything is even due until like the first week of October, the end of the first week, or even like October 12th or something. So you've got lots of time. And if you didn't get that about the due dates, I'm really flexible about due dates within a chapter, but once we finish a chapter, so I think we finished the first chapter, chapter 5 on October 12th, then I kind of shut down that chapter and I no longer accept work from it because we've moved on to the next chapter. So work on things as you like, but once we move on, then we move on. We've got lots of time. Hi, Morgan. Are you Morgan? Morgan's iPad? Okay. We can see you now.
Hi.
Hi.
I do have a question, actually.
Yeah.
So when you teach, what country do you say you kind of like originate your style from? Because I know, like, if you listen to Spanish from Spain, it's completely different from Spanish from Puerto Rico or
Yeah,
like,
that's a great question. I speak very Mexican Spanish now. I studied academically in college. I studied in Spain. I lived in Madrid for a year. And so at that point in my life, I definitely spoke very Madrileño. I spoke very Spain Spanish. But then I came back to the States and I moved to California. I met my husband who's Mexican. And then I just totally switched my Spanish to I have a very Mexican accent. But I still teach like the vosotros form, that's from Spain. So, and I kind of try to acknowledge as much as I can, like, oh, in Spain, I remember they said it this way, but in Mexico, Central America, you might hear this. And a lot of times I'll have students who have, you know, who are heritage speakers, who have Spanish backgrounds, and they'll even tell me more things that I don't know yet. And I love that too. So that's a really good question. Mexican, Spanish, yeah. Did anybody take 121 with Carly? Ms. Johnson, is her name? What's her last name? She speaks beautiful Spain Spanish. And so does Sonia Yasser. If you had either of them for Spanish 121. All right, you guys, we don't have to stay here if you don't have any more questions. I just kind of wanted to meet you and talk a little bit about how this is going to work. And of course, answer any questions if anybody had any. We'll start with, you guys can jump into chapter 5 in your Canvas stuff, and we'll do the beginning of chapter 5 next week in Language Lab.
Gracias, profesor. Adiós.
De nada, adiós, buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Adios.
Adiós.
Gracias, que tenga buena noche.
También, igual.
In Morgan.
Gracias. Adiós.
Adiós.